Hello everybody and welcome to a Train Sim World free video. This is my first Train Sim World video for quite some time. My first such venture was on the Bakerloo line in Train Sim World 2. Unfortunately I didn't really feel like I was enjoying the game all that much, and it didn't help at the time that the computer I was playing the game on was struggling to run it at the most basic of settings. But since then I have picked up a brand new PC. And before I picked up my PC, Train Sim World 3 came along, and since then there seems to have been a number of improvements in the game, especially within the lighting and weather departments, and also there's been various third parties announcing that they are working with Dovetail Games to bring more content to Train Sim World 3, which is nice to see. So I thought, with all that in mind, I think it was time to give this game a fair crack of the whip. So for this first video we're going to go to the trains. We're going to choose a route, and I did pick up the base Train Sim World 3 in the spring Steam sale. The game usually retails, or the base game usually retails for about the 40 quid mark, somewhere around there, but I managed to pick it up at about 40% off. So we've got and the free routes that come with Train Sim World 3 are Southeastern High Speed, which originally released for Train Sim World 2 and ran initially from St Pancras to Faversham, but the Train Sim World 3 version extends the route out to Ashford and Dartford, and comes with more rolling stock included. So as well as the 395 you also get the Class 375 Electrostar and the 465 networker included with the route, so that's good. Train Sim World 3 also comes bundled with Cajon Pass, which is a US freight route based in California, and the Castle Würzburg, which is a German high-speed route, and the longest high-speed route in Train Sim World 3 currently. And then also bundled with Train Sim World 3 is the training centre, which is basically where you can learn to drive all of the rolling stock that you purchase for the game. So that's good. And then also here we have the routes which carried over from my Train Sim World 2 install, which was the Bakerloo line, Sunpatch Grade and the Colne-Aachen route. So let's jump on to Southeastern High Speed. We have three modes here. We have timetable, which is like a continuous driving mode, and you can drive a vast array of timetabled services. Then we have scenarios, which are what they were like in Train Sim Classic, where you drive where you have predetermined tasks on the routes that you choose. And then training modules is again takes us to the training centre, where we can learn to drive the rolling stock that come with this particular route. So we're going to jump into timetable mode. I'm going to pick the Southeastern Class 395, and we want to drive from Ashford to St Pancras. So I think there's a service we can choose. Yep, we'll go for the 8:42 Margate to St Pancras because that allows us to start from Ashford. Dynamic weather is Train Sim World 3's newest feature, which basically has the weather changing as you're driving throughout the route. And you can change the date. I think that affects the weather as well, or you can change the weather manually, but we'll keep it on clear and we'll keep dynamic weather on to see what we get. And we shall get started. Okay, so before we open the doors, we are going to exit the go out to the external view, and we'll just take a quick look at Ashford from the outside. First impressions, the game does look rather nice. I am running on max graphics settings, and I shall go through the specs of my new PC later on. I think generally overall it's quite a good representation of Ashford Station. Looks fairly recognisable. So we'll jump back into the train and we shall press Ctrl and W to turn our master key. That's to put the train into gear. Acknowledge all the safety systems with Q, and then we can open our train door. So if we press tab and we move the mouse to unlock right, and then we can press H a few times to bring up the daytime running lights, and L a couple of times to turn off the internal cab lights, so it'll go dark when we go through the tunnels. And there's our train. First, I'll just turn the HUD off and get a screenshot. Okay, so I think we shall get going. So we'll lock the doors. And we shall depart for Ebbsfleet. And departing Ebbsfleet, we do have a 45 km/h starting speed, but that will quickly drop down to 40 for the point work. So we'll keep it down at 40. And in a few moments our speed will be jumping up to 100 kph. So we can accelerate up to that now. And from here we are now running under the jurisdiction of the TVM430 in-cab signalling system, and that will tell us how fast we can go, which is currently 100 kph. And with that in mind, I'm going to be turning off the HUD just to give us a bit of a better view. And we are now authorised to run up to 225 km/h or 140 mph. Just take a look at our train from the outside. Must admit that it does look rather sleek in the lighting. I do like the reflections coming off the unit as well. Just passing another class 395 there. There are no Eurostar units available in Train Sim World 3 at the moment, so we will only be seeing class 395s on High Speed 1. Already the weather's becoming rather murky. So far I think the sounds are pretty decent. Noticing that even on full power the train is struggling to get up to the top speed. HS1 is actually quite a hilly route. So whilst we're cruising along here, I'll talk about my new PC. It has been built by PC Specialist, and the motherboard is an Asus Z690 Gaming-F motherboard. I have 32GB of DDR5 RAM at 5200 MHz. The processor is an Intel i5-13600K. The K SKUs of the Intels have their own integrated graphics chips. The graphics card I have is a Nvidia RTX 4070 Ti produced by Zotac. And the cooler for my processor is a Corsair H115i Elite Capellix, which is an all-in-one liquid cooler. And rather interestingly, both the graphics card and the cooler come with their own RGB lighting, which I can see through the top of my PC. I do have the top of the roof of the PC case has a grill on it where I can see through to the lighting. And in terms of storage, I am running all solid state drives. They are Samsung 980 EVOs, the M.2 NVMe drives. I've got a pair of 2TB ones and a singular terabyte one. The singular terabyte one is used as a cache drive for my video editor of choice. whilst I have the operating system and all other programs and other files on the split across the 2TB models. And so far so good. It's allowing me to run Train Sim World 3 at max settings, as well as Train Sim Classic, which is nice. And that means I can play the games at their full graphical potential. And I'm hoping that it'll come across nice in the video. Might be a little bit pixelated with YouTube's compression though. And having said that, it's different watching, observing the graphics through video. It does feel a lot different, like playing with the graphics personally, rather than as opposed to watching them on video. So far it's all running nice and smoothly, which is good. And I am speeding a bit, so I need to drop down. Didn't realise that. It's a good thing I don't have the TVM running in full safety mode, otherwise I would have had a penalty brake application. Generally I will try and drive a train with the safety systems applied. But I think for the purposes of this video, we can do without them. Just allows us to appreciate the route a bit more. I have a bit more of a relaxed drive as well. And I really do like the lighting in the tunnel here as well. It's quite good. Keeping my fingers crossed that the weather will improve when we get out the other side of the tunnel. Now crossing over the Medway Valley. That's one of my bugbears with Train Sim World 2, which seems to have migrated its way over to Train Sim World 3. The camera doesn't seem to be as flexible as it is in Train Sim Classic, which is a bit of a shame, really. I also do like how the lighting actively changes when you enter and exit tunnels. We now have a flashing 225, which means we are due a change in our speed. So I'm starting to brake. So I think we'll be getting a lower speed command. 200 kmh, so we're already doing below that, but I'm going to keep the brakes on as that is flashing. We are not too far away from Ashford now. 160 kmh, still flashing. In fact, we're about 2 miles from Ashford. Just bring us up to 140-ish. Now got a steady 130, so we must do 130 before the next marker. The high speed line is split up into markers, as there is no physical line side signals to abide by. But we're now approaching Ashford, so we're going to start slowing down a bit further. Again, another steady 130 indication. And we're now coming in to stop at Ashford. And the fog has dramatically disappeared. I would probably assume that whoever is scripted with skyboxes like the Armstrong Powerhouse Sky and Weather Enhancement Pack for Train Sim Classic. which allows for the dynamic change in the weather. And we've just about made it to the 6-car mark, which is good. So we shall unlock the doors on the right. And here we are in Obsolete Station. Very busy. We've got like an obscene number of passengers coming out of the train. Just an endless array of passengers walking out. And I've inadvertently done a wrong side opening, so we can just lock both the doors. There we go. So we shall now depart for Stratford, our next stop. There's way too many passengers, all struggling to get up the escalator. That's another bugbear of trains in world of passengers. Basically, the passengers are okay when they're not getting in the way. As I did find when I did do the Bakerloo line on Trains in World 2, changing cab ends in the siding at Harrow and Wheelstone, I found that one of the passengers got in the way. Also, passengers like to become jumping jacks, or like jump through the. They like to occasionally jump through the train roof when they're boarding. I'm not sure if that's still a thing in Trains in World 3. Had quite a bit of a lean there. We can now do 225. We'll take the HUD off. We've got 15 miles to go to our next stop at Stratford. I will also admit that the higher graphical fidelity of Trains in World provides for some nice screenshot opportunities as well. One thing that is also missing from the camera system from Trains in World Classic is the pause break function, where you can pause the game without having to bring the pause menu up, so you can freely alter the camera and get the screenshot that you want. Passing through Dagenham, I think now. And just below us on the right hand side is the C2C line from Grays. Just in an EWS 66 set there in the yard at Dagenham. Back in tunnel again. Does take quite a lot of skill and concentration to keep the 395s at 225. And I don't think the 395s have any cruise control function on them. So you certainly have to be on the ball with them. Okay, so we've got a flashing 225, so that means we need to start slowing down. Got a flashing 200, but we'll keep the brakes on. Flashing 160. Flashing 130. We are approaching Stratford now. Got a steady 100 kmh. So we'll just try and coast if we can. As we approach Stratford, the gradient is already climbing, so which does help to trains to slow down from the higher speeds that they travel at. I think I'll just need to apply a bit of power. We are exiting the tunnel now, so I'll start slowing down to stop at Stratford. Stratford looks nicely detailed from the cab. And here we are at Stratford. Again, like at Absolute, we have a ton of passengers piling out of the train. Mind you, we had I think we seem to have a little bit less there. There was quite a lot more further down the platform. Our particular unit also has the 10 years Southeastern sticker on as well, celebrating 10 years of the 395s. Let's take a screenshot of that before we shut the doors. And departing Stratford, starting speed limit is 100 kph. And we are now in tunnel pretty much all the way to St Pancras. And we can now do 225 kilometers per hour. Rumour has it the 395s tend to do 125 miles per hour on high speed 1, and they'll only attain the top 140 speed if they're running late. We've got a flashing 225. Flashing 200. We're doing about 155 and dropping. Just try and reduce the braking a little bit. $160. Doing below that now. $130 km, so we'll need to drop down to that now. Not too far away from St Pancras. And further reduction to 100 kph. and we need to drop down to 80 kph. And here we come to our first line side signal since leaving Ashford. And we're now subject to 40 kph in a moment on final approach to St Pancras. Let's just drop down now. And we've got the platform indicator for platform 13. Lucky for some. And here we are. So unlock left, there we go. And there we are, that's the end of our service. So overall I think that was a pretty decent drive, that. And what we shall do for our next Train Sim World 3 video, we shall run the opposite direction. We shall do Stratford International to Ebbsfleet, and then after that we'll do a couple of local runs on the classic lines, I think, as well. But as far as first impressions go, it's a pretty nice run. Really enjoyed that, so I look forward to be playing more of this game as time goes on. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you've all enjoyed it, and take care.